Good. Record. Okay. Oh, let me just share my machine with you. And let me open C++. And what we're going to do today is actually, maybe I'll do files again. Read from a file and write a program that will calculate the average. Maybe I'll create a file. There we go. I think we have a file. I think I made that file before. Let me just take a look. I'll just put a few more students in it. Let me just look here. What am I looking at? C++, 2026. Do we have one students? Here we go. I'll put a few more names in it. Hello. Maybe I'll put a few more scores. 78, 93, 1, 2, 3, 87, 64, 98, 89, Jeff Smith, 76, 67, 86, 65, and 74, his score. And maybe I'll put one more, I don't know. Aaron. Bill Bride. 93, 87, 67, 75, and 84. So let's say we have a class like this. I mean, the class could be as big as you want it to be, as many scores you want to be. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with 5 scores. Maybe I'll make it 6 students with 5 scores. If you can't see it, I'll enlarge it. Let's put another Carlene. Let's say she missed the test, Carlene, 0, because she missed the test. And she got a 65 on the last test. So this is my class. I have 6 students. Each one has 5 scores. I'm going to write a program that will actually open the file, read the scores from the file, calculate the average, bless you, and spit the result out. Calculate the average and give us the grades. There's a pen. Yeah, there's a pen here. So the name of this file is students. That's why I saved it last time. File, save as. What is the save as? Oh, that's the wrong place. Okay, let me just go here. This one, file, save as. And this one is students.txt. You see it, txt down the bottom. Save. You want to replace it? Yes. So again, 6 students, 5 scores for each one. Maybe that's my grade book. I could take them from Excel. I can have Excel save it as comma delimiter or tab delimiter, and that will save them like this. You can have a grade book and saved. Let me close this one. And notice my file is actually saved in the same folder as this one. where all my programs are. That's the key. So let's begin the program. Where's my C++? Let's write quickly, file new. And it's, forgot to bring a mouse in. I don't have the steady hands. It might be, there's a shortcut, I think. What's the shortcut? Control N. Control N, come on. There we go. I can't move the mouse and keep it steady there. So this is the description of my file. Where is it? Asterisk. What I'm going to do, not just a description. This program reads names and scores from a text file. The name of the text file is students.txt. It's going to calculate the average for each student. And assign a grade based on the average. Print the names, averages, and grades for each student. The name, well, the name, I guess, because for each student, each one is single value. Shut up. The name, the average, I don't know why I have a capital, and the grade, and grade for each student. That's good. That's what we're going to do. Should we send the result also to a file? Send the result to a file. So it's going to print it on the screen. It's also going to send it to a file. So I'll have in my grade book a record of what each one, their name, their average, and their grade for the course. Since I'm going to be reading from a file, I got to tell the machine that. So pound include. And we're probably going to round our answer to 1 or 2 decimal places when we calculate the average. So pound includes IOStream. Pound include fstream for file manipulation. We'll worry about manipulation for later if we decide we're going to use them. IO manip, we'll see if we have time for that. Using namespace std, standard, int main, curly bracket to open it, curly bracket to close it, return 0. The usual stuff. The only thing difference here, different than the rest of the program we done is the fstream. We did that once before. When you read from a file or write to a file, you have to include fstream. But everything else is the same. It's 11:30, I get half an hour to do this with all the stuff I want to do. Let's say I want to sell this program. I want to make money off it. I want to sell it to other teachers. Well, if I'm going to sell it to other teachers, I can't tell them the file is going to have 6 students in it. Every school is different. You go to UMass, there's not a class that has 6 students in it. There's 60, 600. So I don't want to just, I want the teacher to type in their class size and how many assignments. I teach a class at Springfield College. They already had 12 homework assignments. Every week they have 4 homework assignments. Every week. You know? So we have what, 14 weeks? You do the math. 4 times 14, what's that? 40, 56 plus 3 exams. 56, 59 assignments. So every class is different. This class has what? 10 homework assignments or 9 homework assignments and 4 exams. So every teacher is different. So you can't really tell the machine, set it up to do it 10 times. So one good way to do it, let's define the variables here. So this section, define variables. Let's define the variables we're going to be using. How many students? Integer, student num, we'll call it SNum, student number. How many students do you have? I don't want to write student number. It's too much typing for me. And also, how many scores? So how many students? You know, I just call it students instead of student num. I don't know, just student num doesn't sound. How many students you have? And scores. And we say we're going to calculate the grade for them. It's either A, B, C, D. I'm not going to use plus or minus. That's a single character. Grade. So we're going to ask the instructor to tell us how many students they have and how many scores they have. So here, and maybe I should do validate them too. There we go. Get and validate the number of students. Then we'll get and validate the number of scores. And I'm going to keep them. I want to make sure you can't move on until you type in a good number. So what do you think the smallest class size? 1 student. Can't have a class less than 1. What is a reasonable large size? Say 500, 600, 1,000? So, okay. Let's make sure the class size or the number of students in each class between 1 and 1,000. So we're going to use a do statement because I'm not sure how many times you're going to repeat something. Curly bracket to open it, curly bracket to close it. Cout. Let me just move this out of the way. Enter the class size. If you want to say enter the number of students in the class, you can. Because if you say enter the class size, somebody might say, oh, it's in a room. It's 20 feet by 20 feet. So they might give you dimensions for it. So if you want to be like really specific, enter the number of students in the class. I'm just lazy. One finger typing is not fun. And I'm going to read that. CN, and that's students. I'm going to read that number. But I need to make sure that number is between 1 and 1,000. We said can't have a class more than 1,000, can't have a class less than 1. So my do statement, it says while you inside this loop, keep repeating this as long as what? While what? While the number of students capital S I use for students, is less than 1 or can't be and. Notice the or, straight line going up and down, right? Where the enter key is on your keyboard, there's an enter key. Looks like this. Right above it, there is one that looks like this, and right above it, you have these. So that's the key. Hold the shift key down and hit that key, and that'll give you that line going up and down. Actually, it looks like one line instead of 2 lines. On my keyboard, it looks like this. So if you hold the shift key and you hit that one, hit it twice, that means when you see 2 lines straight up and down, that means or. Or what? Students is greater than or equal. Well, you want to do equal just to practice equal sign. Greater than or equal to 1,000. So your the biggest class size you can have is 999. 999 students in it. I just want to practice how you write greater than or equal to, you know. So while this statement is true, repeat this one. So if you type a class size of 0, it's going to say enter the class size and read it. If you type in 2 million, it's going to say enter the class size and repeat. You will never get out of this loop till you type in a number that's either bigger than 1 or less than that number. If you wrote and instead of or, by the way, and the way you write the and, that'll be the wrong format. Just think of the math. The way you write the and are these 2 symbols. That's the and. How can a number be less than 1 and at the same time more than 1,000? Can you think of any number? No. This will never happen. You can't have a number that's less than 1 and at the same time more than 1,000. That's why when I was doing that, I said this has to be an or. And the difference between and or you only need to satisfy one of the conditions. And you got to satisfy both conditions. So this actually will validate to make sure you type in a number. And what about assignments? Let's copy this and paste it. So since I don't like typing, I complain about it so far 5-6 times today. So I'll copy and paste. Control V. We're going to validate the number of scores here instead of students. And what do you think? What's the maximum number? 60? Read the scores, enter the, instead of the class size, the number of assignments. Oh, I already have that. Number of scores. And CN scores. Again, while scores is less than 1, that means you have no scores. Or maybe greater than or equal to what? 60? 100? You think anyone's going to give more than 100 exams, assignments? Between exams, quizzes, and all that? I hope not. So this will make sure the score is between 1 and 199. Now I'm going to go to the file and start reading from the file. But before I read from the file, let me just drop the cursor down color lines, C out, and L, and L. Drop the cursor 2 lines, new line, new line. So there's a space there. Yes.
Yes, score.
Is less than 1 or scores here. Yep, thank you. Because I copy and pasted and I forgot to change it. But thank you. So that will just bring the cursor down 2 lines. It doesn't really do anything, it just makes it easier on my eyes. If you're going to read from the file, so this section, we're going to read from the file. Let's identify this section. Read the names and the scores from the file. So if you're going to read from a file, you have to use FStream or IFStream. Input file stream, IFStream. Let's give the file a name. What do you want to call it? Input? You can call it anything you want to. I'm going to call this will be the nickname for the file. So when I'm referring to the file there, the students.txt, I'm going to use the word input, capital, everything capital on it. Here we go. Input dot open. We're going to open the file. And what is my file name? Students.txt. Students.txt. That's the name of the file. Oh, I hate when they try to be nice to me and do the stuff. So that file, student.txt, is going to be called input when I'm inside this program. And you're going to send the result to a file? Do you have a name in mind for the file? You want the person to type in the name of the file? Because I don't want to say the file name is going to say grades. What happens if you have 6 classes? If you say grades, it's going to, like I do the first class, is going to, then I do this, run it again for the second class, it's going to wipe all that information, the first class, and type in the second group, the second class. So maybe I want the person to type in, this is for Java section 1, this is for C++ DO1, this is C++ DO2. So I'll have the person type in actually the file name where you want to send it to. Read the names. Well, I'm not reading yet. Let's assign the input file. We'll call this, I'll come back and make a read in a minute because I'm going to assign the output file to assign the input file. And let's do one for the output. Assign the output file. So if you're going to use an output file, you have to use OFStream and give the file a name. Well, here, I don't want to give the file a name. I'll call it an output here for now. So it's going to send it to something called output in this program, but it's going to have a different name in my directory. So what name we're going to give it? I want the person to ask the teacher, hey, what name you want to use? So cout. Enter a name for the output file. So I'm telling him, hey, pick a name for the output file. What do you want to use? And I'm going to read that name. So maybe I should go back up there to the top where it says define the variable. So let's do string here. F name for file name. So the file name is going to be a string, like CSC 101-DO1. So let's read that name here. CN, let's read it. And we call it F name. That will read the file name. And now let's assign the name. So my output file dot open and F name, use this name. But remember, with this, you always got to add to it dot C underscore STR open parentheses, close parentheses. You do it for the STR? Yeah. You mean quotation or parentheses? The parentheses, you need the parentheses, but no quotation. Yeah. Oh. C underscore STR open close parentheses. You need them.
Why do we need underscores still?
Because you don't have a file name, so you got to tell the machine this is going to be a text file, C string. So I got to tell the machine that's create a file, a string file. That's actually the name there. If you know the name of the file, then you can just go, I'm going to call it, like I could have just went here and go, let me just copy this, cut it so I can paste it after. If I know this is for Control C. If I know this is for CSC, I can do this. CSC 101-DO1.text. If I know that's the name of the file, then they'll create the file and they'll call that CSC 101-DO1. But what happens when I go to run the program for DO2? That means I have to go here and change the name. What about when I run it for circuit theory? I got to change the name again. So here I said, no, I don't want to do that. I want the person actually to be able to type in any name and the software should take it. But if you're going to do that, then you need to add the .c underscore str. Okay. So this just to assign or get the files ready to be used for reading and writing. So here we go. Now let's read from the file. We know how many students we have. I asked the teacher, hey, how many students do you have in your class? The teacher is going to say 55. So I know that number, or 30, or 21. So I know exactly. So in that case, I'll use a for statement. If you know how many times you're going to repeat something, for is a good way to do it. If you're not sure how many times, then do the while. Because when you ask for how many scores, I'm not sure if that person is going to make a mistake once, twice, 10 times, 30 times. Never. The for statement, when you know how many times you want to repeat something, for INTI equals to 1. I is less than or equal to the number of students you have in the class. I plus plus, increment I by 1. Where's the I? I, where'd you go? I plus plus. Each time increment I by 1. And what do you want to do? I want to tell them, go to the file and read from the file. If you're going to read from the file, remember the name of your file is input. So input, that says read from the file. Oh, you know what? Did I define? I never told the machine we have first name and last name, right? Let's go to string here. We also have capital F name is different than file name. This is the first name and the L name, first name and last name. So the first one, this is the file name. I should call just file name because that's confusing here. Then I got to change it somewhere else where I used it. Where was it? The file name. Here we go. I was trying to avoid all the typing there. So I have F name, which is the first name, L name, the last name. So I'm going to go to there, read from it, the first name. What else? Read the last name. Read the name. And now we're going to read the scores and calculate the average, right? You're going to read the first name, you're going to read the last name. Now I need to read the scores. Got 10 minutes to finish it. There for 20 minutes. Almost there. But each student has 5 scores. So I need a location to read the scores. So let me define. Now these scores, are they decimal values? Could the teacher write a decimal value? If you looked at your homework assignment this week, if you submit it, some of you got 92.5. So there could be decimal value. So in this case, I'll go double. And I'm going to do score, comma, sum. Not scores, just score. All lowercase I use for both of these. So I'm going to read this score and add it to the sum. Well, since I'm going to add it to the sum, maybe I should make my sum equals to 0 to clean it first. There's nothing in it. Well, actually, that won't do it. That's not going to work. I got to do it inside the loop. Every time I go to get new students, I want to start with the sum being 0. But I define a score and a sum to be decimal values. So right here, get the first name, get the last name. Let's make sum equals 0. Reset the sum. Sum equals 0. For every student, I want to clean it and start adding their scores so I can calculate their average. And I forgot actually to add another variable for the average. Comma, average, AVG. Since I use lowercase, I'll try to use lowercase for all 3 of them. So score, sum, and average. Now we're going to tell the machine, go ahead and read the 5 scores. Again, that's for my class. I only have 5 scores for each student. If I was at Springfield College, I'd say, oh, I got 57 scores. So what I need to do is set up another loop here for int j equals to 1. J is less than or equal to the number of scores. I use capital S for that one. And J plus plus. So this one to read the scores. So input, that's the name of my input device. Input, get a score, 1 score from the file. You're going to read them one at a time. And what do you want to do with it? You want to add it to the sum. Sum equals sum plus the score. Take the score and add it to the sum. Then go get the next score and add it to the sum. And the next score and add it to the sum. And the next score, add it to the sum. The one thing I forgot to do here, since I'm doing more than one thing, I should have curly bracket to begin that and curly bracket to end it. So get the score and add it to the sum. And repeat that till you're done with them. I like to indent to line them up. Once you finish with that person, once you finish with them, let's calculate their average. So AVG equals the sum, I use lowercase sum, yep, divided by the number of scores that you have there. So if you have 5 scores, divided by 5. You want to calculate their grade too? I think we can squeeze it in. The grade. Is it A? Is it B? Is it C? If what? If AVG is greater than or equal to 90, what are we going to do? Grade, I think, did I use lowercase? What was the grade? Capital G? No, lowercase. No, it's character. Right there, I use character grade or lowercase. Grade equals what? Or 1 equal sign, not 2. A. Else. If it's not, check to see if what? If average greater than or equal to 80. Grade equals B. Else. Check to see if it's not greater than 80. Check to see if what? If average is greater than or equal to 70. Then grade equals C. Else, if what? If the average is greater than or equal to 60, then grade equals D. Else, you're not a D, so what's the grade then? Grade equals F. So that's going to go through it, calculate your grade for you. So this will calculate the grade. It checks to see if it's over 90, that's an A, skip the rest of them. If it's not, check to see if it's over 80. If it is, that's a B, skip the rest of them. We'll keep going through it till you go through the whole thing. And now the last thing is, let's display name, average, and what? Grade. Maybe I'll have it show on the screen, and I'll have it go to the file. So you get to see it in both places. So I'm going to have 2 cout. Well, 1 cout and 1 output, but the same one. Cout. Oh, missing the T. How do you want to print it? Want to print the last name first? Well, let's do last name. Then after that, put a comma. Notice I'm putting a comma here in a single quotation because that's a single string there. If you're going to put a space between them, then you need a double quotation. So I think you double quotation, comma, space. Because usually when you do the last name, go Haddad, comma, and space. So that's more than one. Then do F name, first name. I want to say your space, your average is, I want you to say the statement, then show the average, AVG, space, and your grade is, and let's put the grade. What did I use for grade? Grade, I think, yeah. Grade. Then go the next line. And L. And you can break these. They don't have to be right there. I can cut it right there. Come on. I can type them under it. That's fine. Still going to print in one line. And if you want to send the same thing to your file, copy this line, copy the whole thing. So this will show it on the screen. Now I want to send it to the file. Control V, but instead of C out, I call my file output. That says send it to the file now. Everything else the same. So you have two sets of them, one for you to see on the screen and a backup set to save it to a file. Hopefully I have no mistakes in it because we're running out of time. This is going to be called what? February 25th. Come on. No errors. Let's compile and run. Do while. I see it. I forgot the semicolon right here at the end of this one. And I'm sure since I use copy and paste, I forgot it here too. Shut up. Oh, I changed the name to file. Remember, I changed it from F name to file name. I forgot to change it here. It looks promising. Let me just move this down. Enter your class size. If I put -5, they go, nope, that's not valid. Enter the class size 0. Nope, that's not valid. Enter the class size 2000. Nope, that's not valid. Okay, what's your class size? We said we have 6 students in our file. So if I put 6, I'm good. The number of scores, 200, that's invalid. 0, that's invalid. We said in our file, each student has how many scores? 5? 5 is the valid one. Enter the file name to save it to for output file. What should we call this? Junk? Hit enter. And there's the result. Now, if I go to my file, I should see a file called junk there too. It says Haddad Z, your average is 75 and your grade is C. Maynard, Lindsay, your average is 85.4, your grade is B. Meridio, Michelle, your average is 86, your grade is B. Smith, Jeff, your average is 73.6, your grade is C. Karen Kilbride, your average is 81.2, your grade is B. Carlene, poor Carlene, your average is 58 and your grade is F. Now, if I hit enter, and if I go to my directory here, I should see a file called junk right there. If I open that file, Notepad, it's a text file, I should see the same scores in it. Here's my output. So now I have a backup for my class, like I know where the grades are, and I can run it for every class I have. The next class, I might have 70 students with 35 assignments, and that should do it. The one thing here, we made assumption that all the assignments have the same percentage. They're all equal percentage. If they have different percent, then you can ask them, what was the percent for assignment 1? What was the percent for assignment 2? What was the percent for assignment 3? And go through and use the correct percentage. Voila. I was, after I talked about it, I said, I'm like a little bit optimistic, like I can do all of that in 40 minutes, because it was, when we finished talking about it, it was 11:30, and now it's 12:05. So 35 minutes it took us to write that. Any questions on it? Everyone's good? Okay, so I'll see you next time. Let me shut this one off. Oh, actually, I don't want to shut it off. Thank you. That's cool. I get the thumbs up. Perfect. See you guys.